Well, hello, sunshine.
Hi.
You have your camera on. Hopefully, some more ladies will put their camera on for us.
Yeah, the other one that says Christy Van Huss is my friend Kara that just moved to Real, and I sent her the link from me. So she changed it.
Isn't it so weird? Like, I don't know what's going on with Zoom. When you send links, it like turns the people into you. I don't know why. So it's Kara. Hi, Kara.
Hey,
Glad you're on the call. Although you guys look like you're still like cute and in regular. I'm like I'm in pajamas. I've been here all day.
Me too.
I'm in
Oh,
pajamas.
you know, oh, yay, those are
I'm
cute.
in like workout shorts because we went to Wendy's so I could dip some fries in a frosty.
Frosty, I always do that.
I thought that was just a country Texas thing.
Well, it might have come from my family's from Missouri, and there's like a debate as to whether or not that's the South, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it is. And so I don't know. But anyways, that's where I got it from my great grandma. She always had me
Yep.
always dip my fries in ice cream, and Frosties are like the best.
Yep.
They're like
So
that's the only
I told Corey date night at Wendy's.
that's the only reason I will go to Wendy's because I cannot like pay $13 for a fast food burger. Like I just can't get with
Well,
it.
they have the 5 for $5.
The
Mm.
biggie bags.
I did hear they have like the wings now. Are those good?
I don't know. I do the 5 for $5 because I get a burger, 4 nuggets, fries, a drink, and a frosty for $5.
Oh my gosh, Christy, you're making me so hungry.
Is it called the biggie bag?
Yep.
I learned it from the high school boys. That's like, that's all they can afford is the biggie bag, but it fills them up.
Oh my gosh, I love
Hey,
that.
whatever works.
All right, hey Christy, I'm gonna make you co-host if that's okay, just
Sure,
so that like you can help me if people are requesting to get in. Are
sure,
you
sure, sure.
what are you doing? Not sure. Anyways, ladies, has anybody been on a Buns Up Bras Off before? I think Stacy, you've been on. Christy, you have. Kara, this is your first one, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have everybody's cameras off, so if you want to drop in the comments, you can. But the way that these are like our ladies' nights in. They can be whatever you need them to be. If you have a hurdle in your business that you want to talk about, we can dive into that. If you have like a win or something exciting that you want to share, we can dive into that. If you just want to talk about mom life, whatever you want. My biggest thing is I don't put an agenda on these because I want them to be valuable to you. But my ask is that you let me know how to do that because there's nothing more awkward than sitting on the other side of a Zoom and hoping that a call is valuable to people that are not talking to you. It is super nerve-wracking. So if you can tell me what you want, then that would be great. And I thought Alex said she's trying to get the baby down. So I know it's a little bit later for some of you guys. So pop on and pop off as you need to. But welcome to another Buns Up Bras Off, ladies.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, of so I see Christy Covey's on here, and I feel like Christy Covey could totally kick it off with a really good win. Do you want to share something exciting that you had happen?
Is my audio on? I think it is.
Uh-huh.
Okay, super. Yes, today, thank you so much, Randy. I've had a great week, a lot of learning, which, to be honest, is a love of mine. I've always loved learning all the things. In fact, I probably learned too many things for my brain to be able to do anything well. But anyway, had a great week. I'm just learning all the new systems between Real and then all the other local stuff. And I already knew that my brother-in-law and my sister, my own sister, were also looking to buy, and then one looking to buy and sell. So I've been feeling like the past month that I have to hurry up and spin my wheels and learn everything right away. But God is saying, okay, slow your roll. Like it'll come. Don't worry. I'll find the right house at the right time. Calm down. Because I feel like, oh, I got to perform. I have to hurry up and learn all the things. And but anyway, today had a great house tour, and I didn't mess anything up. I was a little bit nervous at first. I probably ticked somebody off maybe because I didn't realize I've never been to a house showing where somebody else was showing the house at the same time ever. And now, I'm new at this. And so somebody shows up and we're like, what is there like a drug deal going on outside? Cars parked out. And we're like not knowing what's going on. And I walk out the door because I'm not really afraid of anything. So I walk out and I'm like, can I help you? And they're like, yeah, we're here at a house showing. And I'm like, okay. I said, could you give us 10 minutes? And she's like, well, technically, you're supposed, it's okay to be at the same time unless you specifically ask, to have it by yourself. And I was like, if you could just give us 10 minutes, that'd be really great. But then afterwards, I was like, oh my goodness, that was not very nice. Like, I totally could have been nicer. And I'm like, oh, she's gonna like hate me. She's gonna think I don't want to work with her. And I was just like, oh my goodness. But like Sharon says, or no, it wasn't Sharon, it's Tamir. If you haven't made any mistakes lately, you're not growing fast enough. So
Well,
that
I
was
love
my
that.
big mistake.
So to tie Christy's win in, what I wanted her to share, she's been licensed for like a week and a half. So she's a brand new agent, just
Congratulations.
got her license.
Thank you.
And obviously she's like getting into it. But I actually think that's a really interesting point because Christy, our state allows for overlapping showings. And it will possibly tell you if you're the secondary agent. If you were the first agent, it won't tell you. But I have never, just so you know, I have never had the expectation when I have overlapping showings for them to let me in. I always either, if I'm the secondary agent, like I just like let them know, hey, as soon as you wrap up, we're outside waiting to come in. Or if they're there, then I kind of try to expedite my clients. But just so you know, I never expect them to be touring at the same time. Anybody else? Stacy,
Okay.
what I see you shaking your head. Is that the same, Stacy?
Yeah, I scheduled a showing once and I walked into it, and very similar to your story, there was someone else, they were actually in it. But I just popped outside and let them know I was there. I didn't force myself in there.
Yeah, so I think you did it right, Christy. I think you did
Okay.
it completely right. And the truth is, like, it's the same as life. You will never make everybody in this business happy. I'm doing a deal right now, and it's so interesting to me, like how everybody functions differently. Like the agent on the other side, they just do interesting things. So they sent me they did their repairs, and then they sent me nothing. They didn't send me like a notice of repairs saying like what their issues were. They just sent me an addendum reducing the price $21,000 with zero context.
Well, how would you know how that's accounted
Zero
for?
context. So I had to message back 2 different times. I had to email and text and just say, hey, can I get some context? Like I understand that like you had all the inspections done, but like what are your pain points here? And the reason I share that with you, Christy, is because this agent is a very successful agent. And this agent is an executor and probably doesn't care if anybody likes her or not because she's just an executor. But to the point is like, she just focuses on handling her clients and doing her business. And like, we all have to find whatever works for us and not make ourselves feel guilty. And I personally think you did the right thing by making sure that your clients got to wrap up the viewing without feeling awkward, because that's very awkward to feel like you're all of a sudden not supposed to be somewhere.
Right. Like at an
yeah.
open house, it's like expected.
Yeah.
You're expecting to be with other people. But I'm like, this is the first house that I've shown my brother ever. And it's like the second house he's ever looked at in his life as far as to buy. And I'm like, can you just give us like that time and freedom to look around and not have to worry about what we're saying? And
Is
so
anybody convicted a little bit as a listing agent right now, like just kind of seeing a different perspective? Do you allow overlapping showings? Because I do. And I've always thought listing agent perspective, like, good, see that other people are interested. Like that's
Yeah.
my perspective of it. But as a listing agent right now, I'm also kind of feeling like, well, that's sad. Like I don't want people to feel I don't know that I'll change my process, but I
Yeah.
might be a little more empathetic to it.
Yeah, I mean, it was that time of day. I think theirs was last minute because they were already in the area. That's what I could hear from the buyer. He was like, oh, sorry to infringe on your time. We were just in the area, so we thought we would stop over. And so it was 5:30. I was driving in rush hour traffic. I mean, I'm familiar with the side of town, but I don't know, it just kind of caught me off guard. And then I was like, oh, if she said that to me, how would I feel? So I was like, I could have been a little nicer.
Well, I love that, Christy. Thanks for kicking us off on your win.
Yes.
Like 5 wins. So that's awesome.
It was awesome.
Else want to kick us off on a win or a struggle? Stacy, yeah.
I would like to celebrate my win. So my first career was in education. I've taught for 11 years. This is my 18th year in the district. I still substitute teach. I was a parapro for a period of time and just a parent volunteer. And as a teacher, you have your base pay and then you have to work your ass off doing a ton of clubs after school, any extra opportunity to try to make a couple extra bucks. So my highest year ever paid was in 2020. Right now, I'm in the start of my third year. It's the end of September, and I have officially surpassed my highest annual income as a teacher. I have a closing
Yay!
next week, another closing the week after, and a listing that goes live on Monday. So I'm just thrilled at seeing the hard work start to pay off.
Oh my gosh.
Congratulations.
Yay, that is so
Thank
cool.
you.
I mean, it's a little bit like heartbreaking and disheartening that like that's probably part of why our education system is so damn broken.
Yeah,
You know,
why I
like,
left.
like wow. But at the same token, like just the fact, and this is what I always say about this business, like whether you're the mom that's in it for like an extra Disneyland trip a year, or you're the mom that's in it to change like generational wealth, like hats off. But the fact that we have, I mean, any industry, you know, school teachers included, the best you can see possibly is like a 1 to 3% raise year over year. Like you cannot, no matter how much work you put in, no matter how much passion you put in, no matter how much heart you put in, you can't change your family's life year over year with, you know, 99% of careers. And how amazing is it? And how like empowering and exciting is it to know that in real estate, like we can, like if we put in the work, we can change our lives from one year to the next, like drastically.
Yeah, it's exciting. I celebrate things. I'm a single mom with two kids. My son he'll be 13 next month, and my daughter is 16. And I celebrated that, not with the amounts, but just the general information with my kids. And the first words out of my son's mouth was, "Mom, does that mean you don't have to sub anymore?" So
Oh,
it was cute. I still will. I love the
that.
kids, but yeah, I don't have to rely on that as much. So it's good.
Oh, that's so good, Stacey. I love that win. That is so good. Anybody else have a win that they want to share? All right, Brittany.
Hi. Um, so I got a call from a builder, well, a client, who I thought was totally fake. They like looked at my website, did the online form, and so I thought it was fake. All of a sudden, they told me a local builder gave my information to them, because I started creating a relationship with the ladies in the office. And so now I'm selling their property because obviously the new build ladies in there can't help them. So I'll at least get the one side from that. But I guess I never realized what a connection that is, even, and I've never even sold in this development. I've had a client in there who I have showed houses and it just didn't work out, and just created a little bit of a relationship, and now we're friends on Facebook, and she sent my information to this client and now we're listing their house next week.
Yay.
So it was just wild to realize and put that connection together because I never would have dawned on me.
So two thoughts I have on that, Brittany. Number one is like you're just like you're that agent that's a connector, like you build those authentic relationships, so that obviously is like a huge credit to you. But secondary, it's kind of sad because it just shows how low the bar of like relationship building is in our industry.
Yeah.
Back like 18 years ago 20 years ago, when I was building business, builder baskets were part of my strategy. So what I did was I went in and introduced myself to all the builders. I picked communities based off of like my farm and where I wanted to be. And I would go in and I would build those relationships. If allowed, I would offer a referral fee to the new build agents if they were allowed to get them for any resale clients, so that anybody that came through their model that for whatever reason their new homes didn't work sent me their resale. And then I found out things, because unlike us, like they can't pop into like Scooters and get their favorite drink on the way, right?
Yeah.
And so I would find out like what their snacks and their favorite things were. And so like maybe it was Diet Cokes, maybe it was like whatever Chex Mix, and I would make a basket and I would drop in every 7 to 10 days. And I would just be like, "Hey friend, I'm like here to pop in on you, see my favorite builder, do a video of the house," whatever it was, like, you know, tour the house, find out what inventory you have, whatever. So I would leverage it for marketing, but then I would drop off their basket. And then it would be like, you know, subtly co-brand. Anyways, I just like those became my builder besties.
Yeah.
And I get referrals from them. I did that
And
same model with attorneys too.
it never dawned on me. Like I didn't put it together until they gave me the referral. And it's just funny because I didn't even have anyone purchase in there, which also shows that like whatever agents they have coming in there are also not creating any relationship. They probably are just hand them off to them and then that's it. So yeah, it just was eye opener. So I'm like, wow, that's a whole nother niche I can kind of break into.
Well, and we were on our call today for Connect and Cultivate, and one of the takeaways I had, because obviously I've always niched down, but a takeaway I had was she was like, I want to go with new construction as a mom. And I was just like, it really does, like as a mom, if you really, or as any, whether your kids are older or younger, if you're trying to maximize your time, leaning into new construction sales does that so much. Because once you get them in contract, there's so much less to do.
Not much to do. Yeah. And after that call today, I did the same thing. I was like, I never thought of it in that sense, because you're not doing a lot of inspections. Your hands are kind of off the wheel at that point. And what was funny is I met the clients for the listing appointment and they're like, so can you like help us buy this house? And I'm like, not anymore. Sorry.
Right.
I would have loved to.
That story though, Brittany, take that story to social media and share it to share the pain point of so I was referred to them actually by the new construction specialist. So excited. And here was one of the questions. And unfortunately it was no. And the need to know is that you have to you have to take your agent with you to the new build.
Yeah.
However,
but I still got the sale on the listing side. So I'm excited for that. Hopefully timing works out and they can still get the build. But now I'm like, I'm going to bring some baskets and some goodies to these ladies.
however, think if they don't end up going with that model, you could represent them as long as they haven't written their name down at another model.
Yeah.
With a different builder.
Yeah.
Because it's different by builder, even if it's in the same community, or that's how it is in Texas.
Yeah, and depending on communities, I mean, we're such a small area out here. I don't anticipate them going out anywhere, but if something falls through and it doesn't work out, I'm here and I'm able to help them. So, and it's just a good relationship to have, even with them moving into the area, because them knowing more people, those sales agents can only do so much. So just having that connection is good.
I love that so much. Thanks, Brittany. Okay.
Thanks
Anybody
for the
else?
basket idea.
Yeah, of course. Anybody else have any other wins that they want to share? Well, I will share mine. So some of you may know or may not know, one of the things I'm really excited about is after 20 something years, I'm taking my team national. And I don't know what that's going to look like yet. Like I'm just, God said, do it. So I did it. And now I'm like, okay, can you show me the vision? But today I just was like really getting excited, and I'm trying to figure out, because the whole idea and the whole concept behind my vision is like, you're an agent that knows how to produce, right? Like, so my partner agents will be agents that know how to produce, but they've like always wanted that really good marketing bestie. They want somebody that has like high level experience. They want all these things without having to go into a traditional team model where they give up 50% of their business. And so I was like, well, how am I going to attract, number one, my ideal avatar, and number two, how am I going to attract clients for my partner agents throughout the country? And so I got the whole vision today for our group. So I officially built, I haven't invited anybody to it, but I built the Escaping the Suburbs Facebook group. And then I was able to dial in exactly what the group is. And it's, specifically like the verbiage, everything, helping buyers and sellers to explore, moving into rural properties across the US. And I'm just so excited about it. That was like a huge win. I feel like it's simple. Usually in my head, like things are not simple. And so it's like so easy to understand. Like the second you see it, you're like, oh yeah, I've been considering Idaho and like Wisconsin or whatever. And you're like, this is my group. And anyway, so I'm so excited. I don't have partner agents in all 50 states, but I know God's going to bring them. So I'm excited for that.
Congratulations. Are you talking about like compound living?
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll do rural across the board, but for the most part, and I love serving everybody. Just in case you don't know me, like my heart is to serve anybody that allows me the honor. Like I respect everybody, I serve everybody, but my heart is definitely to serve like-minded individuals that very much have the same faith, the same family values. I represent a lot of strong Christian families. And so very much looking for people that want to do micro farms, family compounds, rural living, have more independence, run away from HOAs. So that's just life-giving to me, because that's what I do. And that's how I live I live on a micro farm in a family compound. So yeah. So yeah, that's the whole thought.
That's our whole thing that I have a lot of people contact me. They're like, I need a yard big enough to build a garden like yours. I need a kitchen big enough where I can make 10 loaves of sourdough bread on a Sunday morning like you do. And that's where I'm starting to see a lot of people reach out because they're tired of the chemicals, they're tired of being sick, they're tired of the toxins. And I'm over here like live my best life, all in my own little bubble. And then people are like, well, how do you do that? I was like, I just wing it.
Went to an event a couple weeks ago, and don't get me wrong, the lender is a powerhouse. She's a powerhouse. She is like well spoken. She like, I mean, like her and all of the agents go to her events, like they rock their high heels, like they are, I mean, they are powerhouses. Okay, I have no, but for whatever reason, I get called to go up front, and so she's like, well, let's start talking about your avatar and like your ideal client. And so I'm like, can I say conspiracy theorist? And then she's like, what? And I'm like, well, actually, can I say conspiracy realist? And of course I go on a tangent. I'm like, at this point, like if anybody isn't seeing like there's a problem, right? And they're all just staring at me like, so anyways, needless to say, they weren't like, please come back to mortgage and mimosas, Randy. So anyways, yes, Christy, I get it 100%. Like I am not everybody's cup of tea, but the people that are like, wait a minute, how are you doing that? Like, let me know. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it's
Go,
starting to become a
Randy.
thing. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying, go. Good job.
Thank you.
It's
Way to be
starting to
brave.
become a thing where people are calling that I don't know for me to bake them bread. I'm like, I have 5 children and one is literally like laid up where I'm taking care of him like a 2-year-old. I can't
yeah,
do that at
well,
this time.
So for those of you that don't know, last week, Christy's son,
2
Tanner,
weeks.
like 2 weeks ago, so I don't even remember the day. Like, I don't even remember what's happening in my
Friday,
life.
September 13th, Friday
Okay,
the
it was
13th.
so yes. So like first off, I was like, the enemy is not gonna get me to believe in Friday the 13th, but he was working on Friday.
Womp, womp.
And my life was just like, I just had all these things happening. And then I'm like messaging, and somehow Christy and I are like in a message, and she's like, well, and I think my day is going tough. And she's like, guys, can you pray for my son? He just got hit on his bike. And like
Motorcycle.
yeah, full trauma, like head scans, everything, and ends up with a broken wrist and like 2 broken wrists, right?
He has a shattered wrist. So the left is shattered. It's in like 8 pieces. This one, he broke the little, that little knob right there. He broke that off. They don't know where it is. It's not even showing in the scan. So they had to put a screw to hold this together. And then it's pretty gross, but non-gruesome way, basically bones came through the fingers, like splintered the skin and you can see them. So surgery was yesterday, but he's laid up like I literally have to do everything. He has 0 hands in at this hip point, no fingers on this hand, and this is broke that connects to this. So like we're working with like 2 fingers max.
Boy moms.
Yeah.
Boy moms are so tough. My youngest son shot himself in the hand. And called me and led with, Mama, I'm sorry I got blood on your couch. And I was like, just tell me what happened. And he's like, well, and then he proceeded to tell me. But again, God's grace, like I don't know how he still has full use of his hand, but yeah, he completely shot himself in the hand all the way through his hand. And yeah, and I was like driving back from California, and then I was wearing a shirt. What shirt was I wearing? We all know, if you follow me on social, I always have a shirt that has an opinion on it, and I don't remember, but it was definitely a pro-gun shirt. And I'm like looking through the entire car, and I'm like, give me a sweater. I'm like, I throw my t-shirt off. I'm like, babe, give me your sweater. And he's like, why are you changing clothes? I said, because I can't right now. I can't get to the hospital and like get into a debate with the surgeon that's about to work on my kid who just shot himself in the hand about their gun policy. And he's like, I think you're far-fetching this. And lo and behold, like when he's stitching his hand, I'm not even kidding, but my son is looking at me, and I'm like, and the surgeon gets out and goes for a second and comes back, I think it was just a doctor because they were able to stitch it. He was like, Mama, is that a swastika on their neck? And I was like, baby, we're not having any conversations. We're just going to love whoever is working on you right where they are right now. And we were like, thank you so much for all that you're doing. And I'm so thankful I took that damn shirt off. This is not the day I wanted to push buttons, not at all. Oh, I love that. Did you say Robinette? Am I saying that right? Yay, do you have anything you'd want to share?
Okay. Hi. My recent, yay thing was a client I've been working with for over 6 months. An out-of-state client to purchase our property in Sun City community. And so after all of the research and all the education that I gave her, we finally got her locked in on a contract. And so that's
Yay.
my biggest yay for this month.
That is
So,
awesome. Does
yeah,
everybody feel like the market's coming back a little bit? Are they starting? No, Christy's like, yeah, no. What market are you in?
What do you mean?
Like city?
Oh, I'm out in Gilbert, Chandler, Queen Creek
Okay.
area. Yeah. I have a listing in Sun Lakes that, I'm hoping goes under contract soon. And but it was very slow. And then I had an open house, had a ton of people come, but no offers. And we just reduced the price. And now we're gonna do another open house this weekend. And I'm trying to learn how to do Facebook ads and Instagram ads, but my ads keep getting rejected. So I'm learning that part of the business right now.
I haven't moved into ads, but Facebook just annoys me. I made a post for Buns Up Bras Off in my own Facebook group tonight, and they're like, we removed this for spam. And I like, what? Why did you remove it? And like people were like, can I have the link? And so I feel bad because I'm like, there was like people I was commenting, like going down, sharing the link, and they probably think I just deleted the post, but I didn't. Facebook did. So if anybody figures out ads, let me know, because I can't even seem to make regular posts without getting in trouble. Alex, did you get the baby to sleep?
Hi. Yes, we finally got to sleep. It has been rough. We're in the middle of moving, so it's like horrible here. And everything's like chaos. There's like boxes and just random everything. So got him to sleep. I'm Alex. Hi. I am about to be licensed. Finally finished all of my classes. So I'm just like fully just going headfirst into everything. I'm like, I want to listen to what everybody that already is licensed has to say. I'm like, I want to get like everything before I go take this test, but I am terrified. I'm terrified. So I think I'm supposed to schedule it for like next week or something like that. But I just finished like all of my online courses. And yeah, so.
Well, yay, we love that you're here. Are you, have you been doing our NAR series that we're doing on Mondays?
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, so you can also go, we just launched a YouTube channel. And I've been
Okay.
trying to put everything there too, just because sometimes it's so hard to find the replays in the group.
Okay.
But we launched a NAR series and it's 6 weeks. And so when you said like you just want to like hear everything, what it is it's like listening to top producers have a conversation. So every week for the last 3 weeks, there's 3 top producing agents throughout different places in the country that are talking about how they're navigating business post NAR and sharing like best practices. Like one of the biggest takeaways I've had, which was so powerful, was from my friend Mindy also in Arizona. And she shared that she's not talking about her commission separate at all. She's only talking about cash to close. So she's just always saying this is the cash to close that you'll need. And she's always just negotiating based off cash to close and not like separating her commission. Anyways,
Yeah.
I would go to our YouTube channel, Moms in Real Estate, and watch that Navigating NAR 6-week series. That's also like really good conversations. I feel like the new agents have the benefit of not knowing the old stuff, but getting to learn exactly how the agents are doing it now will be really helpful for you too.
Yes, and that's where I'm like trying to find myself. I'm trying to benefit from like all of the new stuff, but like I want all of like the old school, like I want I want all of that stuff. And I just feel like I'm having a hard time because I already work in a real estate office. I'm in property management. So I'm surrounded by a lot of people, but they're also retiring. So I'm like, wait a second, because I need y'all's opinions. Like I need all the advice.
Can I say something? Hey,
Oh yeah.
I highly recommend, just so that when you take your first test, a lot of people told me that I felt was valuable when you take your first one, schedule it as soon as possible, because if you're doing it virtually or whenever, it's likely not going to be available for like the week after or 2 weeks from whenever you're wanting it, but then also look at that first test as a practice test.
Yeah.
I passed mine the first time because of the prep agent guy on YouTube. Because he's the one who went through all the questions and answers. It's not the same as the test, but it was really, really valuable to me. And then after you pass, go through the NAR series because your course that you're taking does not does not prepare you at all for all this new stuff. In fact, my course, the CE shop, was terribly outdated. It's probably from 2013. So
Yeah. And well, oh gosh, I don't, oh, there it goes. I'm finding that I have like there's through the real estate school that I'm taking, the guy that teaches the courses, he teaches the courses completely different than like what's available online, which is fine, like whatever. But he's able to just like walk through it and he's like, you don't need to know this, you don't need to know this. So I'm like, I'm having to like take my course online, but then go back and watch the YouTube videos. So I'm like also prepared for that. So I'm having to do a lot of like different types of prepping, which is fine. I don't mind. But also I'm trying to like prep myself for when I get out of this I guess bubble.
So,
This
Alex, my two pieces of advice for you, well, three pieces of advice for you. Number one, don't get discouraged no matter how many times it takes you to take your test. Some of the best agents I know have taken it over 20 times, literally. And they carried shame and embarrassment around that. And honestly, I just respected them that much more. Like I want somebody that is going to show up and be relentless and continue even when it's failing. That's what you want in an agent. So don't let that discourage you. Number two, like relish being the new agent. So many times we feel like we instantly have to know it all and we have to be that professional. And in actuality, it is such a beautiful time to like just learn and be a sponge and share the story because everybody, like nobody is not going to want to support Alex, the brand new agent that's so excited and so scared and nervous and pivoting from property management and is a mom and doing all the things. Like people are going to love that journey. So like share that with them. And then, gosh, I had three and the idea of me remembering three is not really practical. What was the other one? It was good. It was good. I'll remember it if I remember it, Alex, I'll tell you. But oh, layers. Okay. So my biggest thing that I did probably the first 5 or 10 years when I was in business is I was the disruptor of my own business because agents tend to have shiny object syndrome. And because we're so excited and we want to be doing all the things, it's like, oh, I'm going to get this CRM and then I'm going to start using this company for ads and then I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And it's like, we're doing so many things that we are disrupting our own business. So the rule that I made is I only open my business for any change or anything new in the fourth quarter. And then I marry it for an entire year. So it allows me to get a good ROI. It requires me to dive in on anything that I get and actually use it and learn it. And then every fourth quarter, I scrub every system, every tool, every process, everything I'm doing. And I ask myself, is this working, broken, missing, confusing? And I either purge it or I bring in something new. It also helps me with the sales calls because every person is going to call you and tell you like they've got new ads or they've got new this or they're a referral partner. And I just say, you know what, that's amazing. I would love to work with you. I open up in the fourth quarter for new systems or new partnerships. So call me back in the fourth quarter. And if they call me back, then I actually talk to them. And if they don't, then they weren't meant to be my partner. And that changed my business. That allowed me to scale and start selling, 10, 12, 15, 20, 25 million. I kept scaling from there because I was no longer disrupting my business. I was just working my business. All right. So Kara, do you want to share anything?
I'm like fairly new. I got licensed 2 years ago, but I'm a single mom myself, and so I've always had the 9 to 5er, and I'm like, okay, this is gonna be my side gig. But I think where I was prior to this, I didn't learn what I needed to learn. I don't think they understood what my way of learning, and so I never really got kicked off, I guess you'd say. So I recently got laid off. And now I'm like, okay, maybe this is God saying, boom, you have your safety net. Let's go ahead and work it. And so I'm currently, we just put my mother in a nursing home. So I'm currently working on her house and selling it, which it's been emotional, but it's also fulfilling, I guess, going through all the stuff, knowing we're not coming back to this, but also learning as I go. I'm dealing with contractors and roofing and and fencing. We still don't have a fence since the last storm, so working on all that. But that would be my first. I'm wanting it up and listed by the end of October.
That's really good. Kara, I would even encourage you, like you may not want to do it, but niches will help you to get successful so much quicker. And I think it's just because it's easier for, like, you think about people's learning, and it's just so much easier for somebody to be like, oh, that's the, you know, the estate girl, or that's the foreclosure girl, or that's the farm girl, versus like, that's the girl that does all the things. And so as you're navigating that, if it's something where you could see yourself like wanting to help, I mean, because sometimes it is just like, no, that's not for me. Like, I don't want to do that. But if you, as you're navigating your mom's home, I would really do 2 layers, and I would like start to build my vendor list. I would start to build my trusted resource list, and I would really use the opportunity to lay down the foundation of my niche and also share that story. And then in your marketing, it becomes so much more powerful. Like, you know, obviously, even with resale, like one of the reasons I was able to serve first-time home buyers so well was because I was so passionate about that. Like, I knew what it was like to struggle, to never feel like that was going to happen. And even now, like I guess I'm in the agent business because I partner with agents, but 9 times out of 10, I partner with them because I relate to them, of like knowing what it's like to be, you know, I was separated from my husband, and I didn't know how I was going to pay the bills. And I thought it'd be a great time to adopt not 1, but 4 kids, 3 of which had special needs. And it was like, I didn't know where that was going to come from. And when I speak with that passion and that conviction, and they know I've been in their shoes, like, it just creates a different level of connection. And so I would really say, like, as you go through your first, you know, your next 3 or 4 transactions, and you have a little bit of padding, identify what you want to niche down in, and just use it to skyrocket you, and start telling that story of like, of you know, and I also have a connection that I just made that might be really good for you, may or may not, but I love her. She does all my legal docs here. And her tagline is, when you think of death, think of me. And that's kind of morbid, but like all the things people don't think about, like when they're going to go into a facility, if they pass away, how their estate is set up, who their belongings are going to go to, all of those things, she handles all of that. And so she's somebody that she does content too. So she's somebody that you could probably do like a live session on with, or you could like put different information out. I'm actually going to see about her coming into Moms in Real Estate and hosting like a workshop with us. But again, it's like that immediate ability to, the most successful letter of the heart. I do a letter of the heart every month. The most successful one I ever did was, help, I just made an uninformed dental decision, and I don't want this to happen to you. And I shared my heart of like how I would like, you know, I was panicked because my tooth was cracked, and I was like, oh my gosh, just fix it. Don't tell me anything, just fix it. And the doctors chose to fix it in a very non-conservative way, and they filed my virgin to, anyways, it was traumatic to me, traumatic. And I shared this in a letter, and I'm not even kidding. That letter, which I wanted to crawl under my bed and hide because everybody walked up to my face and was like, let me, and I was like, oh my God, get for me. I couldn't know what in my mouth, right? But I like wanted to hide, but sharing that for probably 2 years opened the door to so many. I never thought talking about my dental issues would get me clients, but it literally was like, oh my gosh, you went through that and I'm going through that. And it opened the door to that conversation. So I just want to say, like, what you're going through, as hard and as emotional it is, if you can speak to it of, here's what I went through and here's what I don't want you to go through. So here's what I learned. If you do that, you're going to catapult your success.
I love that you said that, because in fact, Christy and I were talking about it today, actually, what, an hour ago? But then through all of this whole, you know, like the insurance stuff, when your parents get old, and how we didn't have extended life, and we didn't have this, so we're paying out of pocket, and nursing home is $11,000 a month. And we found one a little cheaper, but like, and then all the other stuff that has come into play, and how hard it's been between like me and my sister, and dealing with the house and all. I mean, it's just, there's so much that I even mentioned to Mom. I was like, I want to help other elders, you know, deal with this. So it's funny that both of y'all have said that today, that maybe that's where I need to be.
Sounds like God is just lining it up for you. He's like, here you go, here's your safety.
Been trying to tell her. She thinks I'm insane.
No, that's how God does it. Trust me. I'm like, I'm not leaving my brokerage. Like, everything's perfect. You are going to have to close those doors. And the next day my phone's ringing, and it's like, yeah, I don't think we're a fit anymore. And I'm like, oh.
Yeah, well, she joined me. She's been with me for a week now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But
Yeah.
6 days,
Okay.
I think 6 days she came with me to real.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
I love
so
that.
We
I
met
got-
in real estate school
How cool.
what was it, 2 years ago?
2 years exactly in like 4 days because I showed passed my test.
I love that. I love that. Okay, I know we have a handful of ladies that are cameras off. If any of you want to talk, you can like drop it in the chat or you can just unmute. I want to make sure everybody gets to share. But on that note, does anybody have any struggles or anything that they're trying to execute in their business that they're just not getting traction on?
I do.
Share away, sister.
So like our market is like super slow right now. So when I listed this house, average days on market were only like 32 days. We had a lot of traction. Everybody loved the house, but the house is big. Like every feedback, all of our feedback has been the house is just too big for us. We don't need that much space. Because it's 5 bedrooms and then it has a guest suite with its own separate entrance and its own back staircase. And like, it's just a lot of house. And so that's our only feedback, not about price, not about location. It's just too big. But ours 32 days average on market has now switched to almost 70. So we're like 64 days on market and, not any showings, but all the other houses are the same thing. And the market just stinks for that area at the moment. And I'm just struggling because she found a house. We have a buyer coming. Their house just got fully remodeled from a flood. They're offering on my house. Like it's like domino and I just need dominoes to come on.
It's
Right.
about 54 to 60 where I am. I primarily work in Vail, Arizona, Southeast Arizona. Corona de Tucson is a little bit more south of that, and I do a lot in there, and that seems to be even slower. But then there's parts of Tucson, it's like 20 days, 20 to 30. I don't know. It's so hit or miss in different areas. But my Corona de Tucson listing took 64 days, I think, to go under contract. And my listing going live Monday is in Vail, and I've already let my sellers know it's probably going to be close to 60 days before we get an offer on that.
Yeah, ours is very interesting because I feel like ours is property specific. So like I have a house that I listed last week that's it's an older home. It was built in the 60s, but it's near like the area that's like regentrifying and like up and coming. And it got multiple offers inside of one weekend. Whereas I have another property that's a townhouse that's like more entry level price. And we had an offer and it fell out, and then it's been sitting for like weeks and weeks. And we did a price reduction and did some new marketing, and it kind of got new interest, but it's sitting. But I had a property specific, very similar to your situation. And it was about 30 minutes from town. So it was a little more rural than our main town. And the issue was that it was larger than any other house. So it was a 5-bedroom, 3-bath, and we were at like 3,600 square feet. And so while on one hand, it was like, heck yes, right? It put it completely out of like all the neighborhood norms. And I even had an appraisal done because the comps were running at the time. This was probably about 8 months ago. But at the time I went ahead and had an appraisal done because it was sitting at like 6 something. And I thought it would be 6 something, and it came back at that. But the market, I mean, this is what I tell sellers all the time too. Like, at the end of the day, the appraisal can say it, and then the people can even be willing to pay. Like they can even say, like I'll make that offer, but they have to be willing to pay it, right? And at the end of the day, the market showed nobody was willing to pay 600,000 regardless of the appraisal. And so we had to really just kind of wait it out, and we had to get creative. So what I didn't want to do, and this might help you, Christy, but what I didn't want to do was commit my clients to price reductions. So I knew my value was there, but my issue was that the house was larger and more updated, and it was too much house for the neighborhood. And so rather than committing them to price reductions, I periodically committed them to different incentives. So I did like, they'll pay your HOA for a year. I did one that I came up with a hook that I can't remember now, but it was something like buy this house and don't pay a mortgage until 2024 or something like that. I don't remember, but it was like 4 months of mortgage that my clients would pay. So it was like, so that's a perfect one for this time. Like, buy this house and don't pay a mortgage until 2025. That's a really good one. And that's only 3 months of mortgage payment. And you can have a stipulation on it that's like, up to $3,000 a month. So I came up with really good incentives, and I marketed those incentives, not price reductions, because the value was there. The problem was the house was so big. And eventually I found somebody, and they didn't take the incentives. They ended up taking, they ended up doing a lesser price, but it wasn't a ton. And it ended up having to be a contingency. And then the contingencies deal, it was 2 contingencies, and then the contingencies deal fell out. So we had to get them back in. But we ended up finding the person, because we found the one person who needed a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house that needed the biggest house in the whole town. And we ended up finding the person. So it's just a matter of time when you find the person. But in the meantime, to number one, show your clients that you're working on their behalf. And then number two, to actively get interest, you've got to come up with some unique marketing headlines.
Yeah, we've done, she did a price lock with a mortgage lender. So we got it in the 5s.
That's good.
And she already paid the money up front to list and lock. We've done, we didn't do price reductions either because the value's there. And like, we're only at like $138 a square feet, but the average for the neighborhood's 150. We really should be like way in the 6s.
Yep.
But we don't want it to be scary. And so we've done different things too, where she's offering like $9,000 in seller concessions plus the 3%. And then we're offering like an agent bonus. And so we have like all these, and we're like interchanging them in and out, and then advertising that. But it's just so slow. However, the buyers that are coming, we've been waiting for their offer because they had issues at their own house. It's the first people that ever saw the home back in June, and then we took it off the market for a while, and then relisted, and they came back. And so like their house is about to go live. So we're going to have an all cash buyer that needs none of those incentives, but like they're rooting for each other. So my seller's rooting for these buyers really to get it, and the buyers are rooting for the seller to like hold off, but not hold off. And I'm just rooting for all of them, because like they would be they would love the home like she did. It's just the
so it sounds
waiting.
like time too for you.
Oh, it just stinks. So that's my biggest struggle, is that.
I always tell
Randy?
sellers, you just need one, right? You just need the one person.
You want buyer.
I have a question. So when I was listening to the NAR series the other day, I guess working with my brother and some other people, you had mentioned about walking that first time home buyer, and sometimes they're not going to get the house that they really want because they just don't have the funds. Do you have a process or a teaching or something that I could listen to know how to do that? Because I see myself championing first time home buyers. And because I was there once, and I remember, and this market is expensive, and it is hard to get into this, into home ownership. But I really would like to figure out how to do that.
Yes, so I'm sure I do. I'm trying to think, one of the goals that I have for my VA before the end of the year is to get all of my trainings from the last 6 years and get them uploaded into one place. But here's what I will tell you. So it's pretty easy. Number one is you just want to do education-based content. So your number one, you just want to, and you want, very simple, cut to the chase. Make sure in content you're not introducing yourself, you're not conveying like your heart, like it's our natural desire to say like, this is why I want this for you. Don't just go straight into the like how the benefits are for them. And then the next component is offer buyer consult. So you literally just deliver to value, give tips, give tricks, give stories, and then always say, book a free consult with me. Like figure out what to call your consult, like home buying 101 consult, 90-day ownership, get something. And then it's in the buyer consult that conversation is going to happen, Christy. And it's not a big, it's not a big production. It's literally you saying to them, listen, at this point, based off of your purchase price and based off of our market's average price, we have a disconnect. And I understand right now you're not going to get everything you're looking for, but here's what I need you to understand. As much as I would love you to find your forever home, if we don't get you in the market in the next 60 days, there's a really good chance you're not going to get in the market. So our goal has to be just to get you in for 60 days, in the next 60 days. And like when you just have that conversation, and also start to reframe how you ask. So, okay, you've made it clear I recap. You've made it clear to me, homeownership is super important to your family. You're done paying $2,400 a month rent. You are so frustrated that you're not allowed to have your own dog. And oh my gosh, I can't believe they didn't let you paint your daughter's bedroom. Like, I get that. And I want to get you out from this. So if we, in the next 60 days, if every house I show you isn't good enough and that's it, you haven't found anything and you haven't made an offer, and the reality of you never having own ownership is like at our door, how's that going to make you feel? And they're like, yeah, no, I don't want that. Like literally, I've had to reverse my clients where I'm like, no, hold on. We don't have to offer on the first, like we can look at another house. Like we don't have to just take the first thing that comes. Hold on, we can look at a couple houses, right? Because you got to stress that urgency to them. So very specific, speak very specifically to them. Ask them how they will feel if they don't obtain the goal. Like, I get it. Living in a house that's not everything you want kind of sucks, but it's better than living in a house that you don't own, right? So it's just getting very direct. And sometimes people even have said to me, like, I don't know, that maybe I'm too direct, but according to my clients, that's why they keep coming back. And then number two, Christy, is just letting them know it's ultimately their decision, right? But informing them that there's a very real possibility that if they don't get into the market, they're never going to own. Also, success stories are really, really powerful. So you can empower people through stories way more than you can explanation. People just learn through stories. So I will share with you my real story and you feel free to use it. You can say like my team, and I am your team. So one of the things I always share is that I've only had one client in my entire career that got priced out of homeownership. And I shared that exactly what happened. She came to me and she had already been looking on Zillow at houses in the 400,000s. And unfortunately, at that time, our median was like 175 and they got approved for 150. And I could not reset her expectations. Also, she had 6 kids. She had a big family. She wanted 3 or 4 bedrooms. Understandable. Everything she wanted was understandable. But unfortunately, no matter how much I tried to reset her expectations, she just didn't want to get out there and she didn't want to look. She kept telling me she was going to save. Fast forward, that same year, I sold 2 other families' houses. One was a mom and a dad that went in with a daughter and her son and bought a house and like pulled their money together. And then another one was just a husband and wife. Since then, that mom and dad and the daughter each bought their own properties, leveraged the equity from that first home, each bought their own properties. And then mom and dad went on to buy another retirement property in Arizona. And that husband and wife have moved up twice and now have acreage and are like living their dream ranch. Meanwhile, I still check in on that client from time to time, and she's still approved for 175. And the median that used to be in the $100,000 range is now at 550,000. And now I can't even sell her a condo. I have nothing. She's 100% priced out. And that is factual truth to this day. And here's the thing. She wasn't able to outsave equity. And she was never able to get enough of a raise, even though she did get raises. Her raises could not outpace equity, appreciation. And I just share that story. And I say, listen, like it killed me. I always ask myself, could I have done more? Could I have waved more red flags? Like what could I have done to not leave her behind? I don't want you to be her. I don't want you to be left behind. That story will educate them and reset those expectations. And then you have to remember when you're working with first-time buyers, Christy, you're also going to have people that, like I had a young kid recently that I showed him a stick built that needed work. But I was like, listen, this is stick built. You're a blue collar family. Like you have all the tradesmen that you know, like you guys can come in here and you can fix this house. And on the upswing, you can have instant equity. And then in the long run, I can sell this and I can move you forward. And he was like, and you know what, I really appreciated him because he was like, well, like what, why do I have to move forward? Why is it here good enough? And I was like, you know what, it absolutely is. I just don't want to do you a disservice by putting you in a house that you could have, like you're stuck on your equity. Long story short, I loved this kid and we like had jokes. If you watch my videos, I even did a video about how much I loved, I think I said Eddie, but his name was Charlie. And I put the video out, like calling him the wrong name. And then I sent it to him and he's like, just when I thought I couldn't like you better. So we have a great relationship, but at the end of the day, he bought a manufactured. And that's fine. That's fine. I've had clients see great appreciation on manufactured, but he bought a manufactured that didn't have any unique value proposition. It didn't have big land. It didn't have anything. And then I also was like, guys, the lending's a little tricky here. Like, yeah, we're getting it done for you, but in the future, if this lending can't be done, you're going to limit your buyer pool. And I'll be damned if Guild Mortgage didn't call me 60 days after the closing and tell me that their underwriter should have never approved it. And so the underwriter approved it and they financed it, but they will never again qualify for conventional, and they will never again qualify for FHA. So that manufactured can now only be sold cash or VA. So not only did he press and go in, all of that to say, Christy,
Wow.
like there's going to be the ones that just like hurt your heart, the ones that you want so much for. But at the end of the day, you have to respect that they're adults and they're decision makers.
Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
love them, but that was the house they wanted. That was the area they wanted. That was the decision that they made. And I'm telling you, even now, sometimes I'm like, oh, like I wish that they would have waited, or I wish this, or I wish that. You can't, like you can't, you never know. And that's what you also have to tell them too, is like, you never know what the future is going to bring. So never speak to anything with certainty either, you know, because we don't know. If the last 4 years have taught us anything, it's that we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
Speak with
I
100%
mean, you
certainty.
know, I can see trends because from what I see from just looking at real estate, that spring tends to be more costly. Fall, everybody's like, hey, let's reduce the price so we can get out of here and get into the holidays and so forth. So I think he's concerned right now, you know, the house that we went to see today wasn't in the best area. And there were some things that, you know, were a little concerning. I think he'd rather be in a safer area with a lower, you know, a better crime score, I guess. But, you know, I don't want him to sacrifice where he lives, you know, but yet he also needs to get into the market in a way. He could wait till spring. But I don't see the house prices coming down.
And the competition is
either.
going to go up. So
Yeah.
again, and here's the thing, you just have to educate people, let them pick and choose what they're going to navigate.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the buyers right now are going to have the benefit of the seasonality. And then depending on what the election does and depending on what rates do, for every savings that there's going to be in interest rates, there's probably going to be an expense in increased prices because there's going to be more competition.
Yes.
So kind of they have to pick and choose. But I will say, you know, I always try to encourage, the one thing I always tell my clients also in a buyer consult, and we can wrap on this note too, is that buy where your life is. So don't let him buy something that's outside of his lifestyle. Every buyer that I've ever had, and I tell them in the beginning, let me send you everything in your price range. Let me send you every neighborhood, because I want you to know your money can buy more. Because I always dread, like, you know, Paul going to work and talking to John and being like, what? You bought that for $500,000? If my agent would have told me, I would have bought that too. So I dread that. So I always say, here's what your money can buy in our entire area. But every client that ever goes, oh, I'm going to move north because I get more for my money, 6 months later is like, I freaking hate you. Why did you let me buy here? My life isn't here, right? So I would say always push for them to buy where their lifestyle is. And it's better for them to buy the lesser house in the better neighborhood and the house that needs all the work than it is for them to buy the nice house in the up and coming neighborhood. I have a client and a family member who did that in Dayton, Ohio. And she has a gorgeous, it's called Doctor's Row. It used to all be doctors. The basements used to be doctors' offices. It's beautiful. She has, so with the basement, it's 4 stories, like 13 fireplaces. It is gorgeous. But the concept was like, we'll buy the house and we'll fix it up and the neighborhood will catch up. And they don't even put their blinds down because they're not comfortable in their neighborhood. They don't even drop their blinds because they're not comfortable with their neighbors seeing in. It's way transitional. And what they thought would come around in like 3 years is probably going to take closer to 10.
Wow.
So that's like a harsh reality too. When somebody becomes locked, and it's going to happen in your career. If you sell enough houses, people are going to become locked. But that's the other thing. So with your brother, I would make sure that he really thinks about lifestyle and he thinks about location over anything else. Like he can knock the house down to the studs. I bought my house and it needs a $300,000 renovation, but I knew what I was buying, where I was buying it, and the land that came with it. And so I wasn't worried about the structure.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Ladies, is this good? I want to make sure you guys always get value. Did you all get value today?
Yeah.
Yay. Well, I will end on this note. I would love, I haven't asked, I am getting ready to launch in the next, it's probably going to be about 60 more days till launch, but I'm getting ready to launch the Buns Up Bras Off podcast. And for that podcast, if you've ever felt like you're the Adam Sandler in the Hot Girls Club, this is going to be the podcast for you, because that's me. I'm always like, yeah, I don't fit in here. And I just want to build that space. And so in the next week or two, I'm going to kind of be developing like a launch crew. And really all that means is it's the people I bounce ideas off. It's the people that I'm going to share the stuff with as it comes out. And I would just kind of like feedback. So if any of you would be interested in being in my Buns Up Bras Off launch crew, I would love that and be so honored. You can just send me a message, but I cannot freaking wait. The truth is I actually just need to lose a few more pounds before I do the photo shoot in like my comfortable t-shirt. So I'm making myself do a few more things to get myself completely ready to step into this and create this space for women. So
Right, because I think you are the one who said, don't wait till it's perfect.
yeah, I'm
Just
not gonna
do
be
it.
perfect. I'm not waiting until I lose 100 pounds. Just 20,
Yeah.
just 20 or 30, Christy. I just need to be a little less thick, just a little less.
I think you are just
That's-
beautiful, Randy.
I
Really.
think so too.
I
Thank
really do. I
You have
don't,
the best spirit.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, thank you. I
you are
love that.
so gorgeous.
Well, and for the record, I'm not, thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I'm not like on a weight journey because I lack confidence or because I'm like concerned about it. It's more complete conviction around stewarding the temple and around being like, I show up a little diminished. The truth is like when I'm like fidgeting and like there's 20 girls that are like super cute, I show up a little diminished. And I'm not being who God calls me to be in rooms because I'm not taking good care of my body. And so it's more about fixing that so I can be a better representative of the kingdom. So although I'm not sure how much louder he wants me to be, but
You know, I just said something about the weight because I'm coming to Arizona for the retreat. And I told Kara today, I was like, I'm gonna go and be around all them. I need to lose before I go.
Christy, so I spoke on stage a couple like last year, I think, and like hats off to all you Arizona girls. Like I love it. Like I love it. Okay, but I get to Arizona and like everybody is like blonde and tan and like in their cute outfits and their heels, and I literally have this first. Kristen's like, talk about whatever you want. So what does God give me? He gives me this speech on like you should be empowered by the word and not the world. So basically I'm going to tell you all why like you need to do better as Christian women. Anyway, so first she tells me this, that I can do whatever. And I can see that half the audience is like with me and the other half is like, who put this girl on stage? And then I get up there and the first thing out of my mouth is like, sorry, you're all like face with my fupa. And they're like, what is a fupa? So somebody asked me what a fupa is for stage. And my daughter's looking at me like, don't answer it. Don't answer. And I'm like, you're a fupa? I promised myself when I went back to Arizona, my fupa would be under control, and it's not. It's not. It's not.
If it makes you feel any better, I joined a gym in February and I have successfully gained 20 pounds and it's not muscle. It's not okay, but it's happened because life.
Stacey, I think that's like the most dangerous thing. I literally went to an event in Vegas in June and I was down and I was at like 250. I don't like to be over 200, but I was at like 215 and I got down to like 212 and then I got home and I was like, I don't have anywhere to go for like 3 months. So I was like, I'm going to start my diet on Monday. And I did that consistently for 8 weeks.
I hate the Mondays.
Probably what happened to me too.
I just told her I'm gonna start on Monday.
So like I have to, like I live like a prisoner about to get my last supper every day. I'm like, well, I need ice cream and I need like this and I need that. So I have gained 14 pounds since I like took my pause break. I'm like, oh my gosh, Randy, what have you done? Like, yeah.
Hilarious.
Yep. So, well, anyways, Christy, I'm excited you'll be there with me in Arizona. And so
Can't wait to meet y'all in person and a freaking hug y'all finally after all this time.
well, for the just so you know, so that you're not disappointed, I'm all of 5 feet tall. I don't know how tall people think I am, but every time somebody meets me in person, they're like, oh, you're so much shorter. So I'm very
I'll make
short.
that comment to you
What
for
you
the
want?
first 5 seconds.
That's okay. I'm always used to being like the short girl, so I've got used to that. But anyways, ladies, thank you so much for showing up here. I will hope to see all of your faces next month. Bye, ladies. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you.
You too. Bye, guys.